Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Bambi Patterns. This is a sew along to the Dasandra dress. The pattern link is in the description box. The pattern comes with a detailed step-by-step written description as well, which provide more information on fabric layout and recommendation. After washing your fabric and ironing it, cut out the pattern pieces and overlock or serge or zigzag the edges to prevent fraying. Let's get started with the Sandra. Pin the pockets to the skirt by matching the notches and placing it along the pocket marking, the right side of the fabric facing each other. Please share your kind reviews and thank you for the support. Sew the pocket to the skirt at 0.7 centimeters or 0.28 inches from the side seam. Press the seam towards the pocket with a steam iron. And thereafter, understitch the pocket up to the stop mark indicated on the pattern. Include the seam when understitching. Place the right side of the fabric together. Pin the skirt front side seam to the skirt back side seam by matching the notches and sew from the waistline and around the pocket seam. Then continue from the stop marking to the hemline. Refer to the Dasandra guidebook for the illustration. The allocated seam allowance and hem allowance in centimeters and inches are on the individual pattern pieces. Press the seam with a steam iron. Stay stitch the neckline of the bodice by sewing a straight stitch around your neckline to prevent the neckline from stretching as some of it is cut on the bias. Do the same for the bodice armholes. Sew the bodice front to the bodice back at the shoulder and side seams. Press the seam with a steam iron. Join the waistline together by matching the center back of the skirt to the center back of the bodice. Push the bodice inside the skirt and continue pinning the center front of the skirt to the center front of the bodice and sew the waistline together. Our PDF Sewing Pattern 101 video demonstrates how to read, print, cut, assemble the PDF pattern files from Bambi Patterns. Refer to the description box for the link. Press the seam with a steam iron. Take the waistline elastic with your desired length and add 3 centimeters or 1.18 inches for joining the ends. Sew the elastic together with a zigzag stitch. Divide the elastic in quarters, mark the area, then pin each quarter around the waistline seam. Starting at the side seam, center back, side seam, and center front. Using a zigzag stitch, pull the elastic against the waistline seam to fit the length from one quarter point to the next quarter and sew. Take your iron and steam over the elastic waistline to restore it to its neutral state. Do not move the dress once steamed for a while. Take the wrist elastic, which is based on your wrist circumference and required ease, and add an additional 2 centimeters or 0.79 inch for seam. Draw a line joining the marking on the sleeve side seams. Pin the end of the elastic to the place mark and sew each side with zigzag stitch. Mark the center of the elastic and pin it to the midpoint of the sleeve. Using a zigzag stitch, stretch the elastic flat over the line and sew. Sew the sleeve side seam together. Sew the sleeve hem and press the seam with a steam iron. Sew 2 guided stitches at 1.5 centimeters or 0.59 inch and 0.5 centimeters or 0.20 inch using the biggest stitch length. Pull the sleeve through the armhole of the dress. The sleeve should be facing the right side and the dress should be inside out. Match the notches, sleeve seam to the dress side seam. Shoulder seam to the center top of sleeve. Gather the sleeve so it fits the armhole. Sew the sleeve to the armhole. Press the seam and remove the guided stitches. Use a steam iron to fold the bias binding in half and then each side in half further. Sew the bias binding around the front bodice opening. Sew the center back of the collar pieces together. Measure the neckline of the dress from the center back to the shoulder seam to the center front and mark the measurement on the collar. Fold the collar right side to right side and sew the collar seam until the center front. Repeat the same on the other side. Use a steam iron to fold in the seam allowance. Pin the center back, shoulder seam and center front of the collar notches to the dress neckline and sew. Close the collar by sewing the inside of the collar to the neckline. Using the folded upper edge of the collar, sew 2 stitches. Fold the collar side seam inside the collar, then stitch first at 1.3 centimeters or 0.51 inch, then at 2.5 centimeters or 0.98 inch. With the end of the elastic close to the side seam opening, sew the side seams. At the back of the front binding, stitch the center together at a 45-degree angle. Using a steam iron, fold the hem, then sew the hemline. Depending on the occasion and weather, style the Sandra with a pair of open-toe heels, closed platform shoes, or boot with a heel. Share your journey of making the Sandra. It will be a delight hearing from you. Smiles and laughter. Bambi Patterns.